Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the blueprint to successfully positioning vaginal rejuvenation in your practice. We are so excited to have you here. As you log on, before we get started, we would love to hear you put in the chat where you're from, and just so we can give you a shout out. And just some housekeeping. The chat is for commentary, so just feel free to send us your comments through the chat. But for the questions, put it in the Q&A, and that way we'll be able to respond. And we're going to be answering questions at the end of this. So again, welcome all of you. We're so happy to have you all on this call. We're going to get started in we're going to wait for another minute to get started. But if you can all just put where you're from in the chat when you come on, so we can give you a shout out. We would love to welcome Jamie from Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Yes. Hi, Jamie.
Yes. Hi, Jamie. And Constantine from Las Vegas. Welcome.
Woo,
Welcome.
I'm about ready to go to Vegas.
House.
I'm going to Vegas next weekend.
Vegas in the house.
I think I'd honestly rather go to Loveland, Colorado, which is where Jake is from. I am a Colorado fan.
Memphis is in the house. Tina, welcome from Memphis.
Yay!
Memphis. Louisiana in the house. Arizona in the house. Charlotte in the house. Oh my goodness. We are representing
California.
from so many states.
Wow.
Oregon, Denver. Jennifer, welcome. Welcome. Thank you all. Well, it's 7:01 and we are so happy again to have you on. We have such great information that we're going to be sharing with you. Hello from New York. Some great information. Again, just some housekeeping. In the chat, feel free to make your comments. And the Q&A is where we're going to have the question and answer. So we have a great panel for you, two great speakers that we're going to have on. So let's get started. Lauren? All right. So guys, again, thank you for coming on. We recognize this is a very important topic in terms of marketing vaginal rejuvenation. As you can see from this chart, the vaginal rejuvenation market is growing. In fact, when this chart was done, you can see that it was in 2017. They have a projection of about 11.7% growth year over year. Well, we know that in 2021, well, first of all, so they're saying that in 2019, they estimated that the market would be about 4.4 billion. Well, guess what? In 2019, the market was actually 5.1 billion, and it's growing faster than they expected. So certainly, with the growing awareness of the vaginal rejuvenation procedures, with just more conversations, more normalization around talking about this topic, vaginal rejuvenation is becoming more and more common. More and more of your patients are looking for these procedures. In fact, according to ASAPS, they estimated that, well, they say that it's the latest trend in cosmetic procedures, and they reported a 53% increase in procedures over the last 5 years. So certainly this is something that all of you we want to make sure to be involved in, where if you want to call us early adopters, we're not so early, but certainly this is a time to get in the game of the vaginal rejuvenation market. So what you're going to hear tonight, you're going to hear about from experts, and I'm going to be introducing them in a second, on really the type of marketing that needs to happen in order to bring more income to your practice, as well as to serve more of your patients. But many of you on the call may not have any kind of equipment, vaginal rejuvenation, laser or radio frequency equipment. So you're maybe just starting off. And this is a great presentation because we're going to talk a little bit too about the CO2 Lipi, which does not require, it's not equipment. It's something that you can offer to your patients, and it's a very low entry to get started. But we have a great case study here I'd like to share with you. It's a board certified dermatologist in New Jersey she has one location, and she had no vaginal device in her practice. And when we talked to her about it, she was really resistant because she felt that this is not something that she wants to get involved in. She wants to stick maybe to the face and the neck. Well, we talked to her about just what we said, that this is a growing industry and she may want to be able to offer her patients this because they're going to be going somewhere for it eventually. And we don't want her patients to get services that she could provide. So she simply displayed the brochures prominently in her office, and she was really surprised that her patients started requesting information. In fact, her conversations when patients talked about eczema and dry skin issues, it led to the conversation on vaginal dryness, itching. And she started off with just 5 boxes. And now, several months later, she's now bringing an additional 4,500 in revenue to her practice. And with what we're learning, or what you're going to be learning today, when we help her to implement these different strategies, we're expecting that to double for her in the next few months. So let me introduce to you two of our speakers tonight. We have one first, Lori Werner. She is an expert in medical marketing. She is a co-founder with Glenn for the medical marketing Whiz business, and she has a great team of experts, and she really focuses on helping physicians to be able to market vaginal rejuvenation. You're going to be hearing from her very shortly. And then we have our next speaker, which is Lauren. Lauren is really, she is the director of sales and marketing at Lumis Skincare with Co2 Lift. She really is a 15-year aesthetic veteran. She is excellent at consulting. She's in terms of business relations to business development, creating partnerships. And she's very passionate about educating our clients. So we're really looking forward to hearing from both of them. So I'm going to turn over the meeting right now to Lauren. And by the way, before Lauren, I wanted to point out that one of her accomplishments was that beautiful, or handsome, he's both, little boy who is just a superstar. So Lauren, please take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I do love my son, obviously. So thank you very much, Lana, and thanks, Lori. Thanks everybody for joining us here. So yeah, I have been in the industry for quite some time, and my very first foray into aesthetics was working with a practice consultant company called InOffice Marketing. And back in the day, we had developed a acronym and a formula for marketing in a medical practice, and it was called SIMPLE. And this was before digital marketing was even a thing. But SIMPLE stood for staff, image, medical credentials, patient education, loyalty and retention, and external marketing. And really the S, the staff, was first because really you can put together any marketing plan that you want. And you're going to hear a lot of really great things from Lori. So excited to have her here. But if you don't have the staff in place, if they're not on board, and if they're not trained on what you're offering, everything is going to collapse. So they really are the fundamentals of really making this work. Your whole team really needs to all be involved for making it work. So we recognize that. And so what we have done is put together a few things to make it very easy to get your staff on board. So of course we have our team of reps that are available for either virtual or in-person training. So they can work with you hand in hand to come up with a personalized plan for you for what makes the most sense. But we also just did a really cool video training with Dr. Bogard, Dr. Charlena Bogard. She's a board certified gynecologist, and she went through GYN 101. So really goes through anatomy, just different conditions with vaginal wellness, and then also product knowledge for the CO2 Lift V. So that is going to now be available to you, to your staff, and it's going to be ongoing. We'll always keep it fresh and updated. So something that you can very easily, quickly get your staff on board and up to date on offering these services in your practice. Also, we just have ongoing education. So webinars like this, and we do monthly webinars focusing on different topics. So ongoing education. And then also just, we have come up with this concept of identifying a carboxy captain or identifying your staff sexual health advisor. Back in the day, again, we were really focused at InOffice Marketing on the internal marketing in the practice and really just those fundamentals and simple things that you can do. So identifying that captain in your practice so that one person or it could be 1, 2, 3 people, depending on how large your staff is. That one person that's going to be the trainer for the team, that go-to person, not just for the staff, but for the patients as well. And we're even going to be coming up with a little sign that you can customize that's going to be ask me about sexual health, wellness, that you can display in your office. So again, giving you the tools for you to be able to implement in the practice to really get the staff on board, get the staff excited, and to get them really energized about offering sexual health wellness in the practice. So we know staff is very, very important. So hopefully those are some things that you can easily implement and get your staff on board. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Lori so she can give more tips and tricks.
Sure. Yeah. And I'm actually really glad you started with the staff thing, Lauren, because like you said, all the marketing in the world, if you don't have the staff in place that can really be that champion for intimate wellness at your office, the marketing will fall flat. And so I would challenge you to think about, you want to pick somebody that fits the demographic of the type of person that is going to want this treatment. So having the millennial that's at the front desk being your person for this, it's probably not the most relatable person. So preferably, I mean, you want somebody that has had one of these treatments done. And I'm really excited to be part of talking with the CO2 Lift V today, but quite frankly, we work with doctors that have energy devices that do PRP. And it really holds true no matter what, that you need to have somebody that can talk about the treatment, maybe share their personal story of like what their life was like before and how this really changed them. That is it will pay off dividends. So just thinking about making sure that you have that staff in place, that's huge. And so what I'm really excited about is to share with you guys some of my top tips for how do you market this, because sexual wellness is a little bit more tricky to market. In my opinion, it's a lot more tricky to market than, let's say, cool sculpting or Botox, because we're talking about a really personal subject and it's not always something that comes up. So you need to have a strategy for how to get the word out, how to connect with people, and how to ultimately convert them into patients. So I usually do this webinar over a whole hour, so I'm going to condense it down and give you guys my top tips. And I really challenge you, pick 1 or 2 of these that you can start to implement tomorrow. So you can go ahead to the next slide, Lauren, and I'll get to it. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you advance it? Advance the slide for me. Oh,
Lauren?
We lost the presentation.
Okay.
Hang on here for a second, guys.
Sorry about that, guys.
That's okay. No worries.
Not quite sure what happened there. So there we go.
Right, so next slide. There we go. Next slide.
Okay.
All right. So I want you to think about this in a 2-phase strategy. First off, when it comes to intimate wellness, you want to start with the people that already are in your practice, your existing patients that are coming in for other services. Again, this is a personal subject, so those are going to be your low-hanging fruit. And then you're going to have another strategy on how to attract new people. So I'm going to give you several tips on how to achieve both of these. You can go ahead and go to the next one. Okay, so internal marketing. First thing is you want to make sure that you have on your intake form, whether that's an electronic intake form or it's a paper that people fill out when they're a new patient, make sure that you've got a few questions on there about intimate wellness. You know, have you noticed changes to your vaginal health since you turned 40? Are you a breast cancer survivor? Have you had a total hysterectomy? Do you have urinary incontinence issues? Do you find that you're not as interested in sex anymore? Like any of those type of questions. And I think the team here actually has a suggested intake form that they can share with you. So that's, again, the first thing. Everybody that comes in should answer some of those questions. Are you using email marketing? So if you're not doing something like a monthly email newsletter, make sure you've got something in there every month that has maybe a little tip about intimate wellness. Making sure you are doing a newsletter. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Lauren talked about you got to have the people on board. I'll also find offices where you've got one doctor that's like gung-ho about it, and they've got 3 or 4 more doctors in the office, and all of them like don't talk about it at all. So it's just making sure everybody's on board, everybody's excited about it, everybody's trained on it, and then you've got that point person that's the champion that can talk price and things like that. And then doing some kind of an educational event every quarter, and then using social media to educate your current list. So you can go to the next one. So just some tips for social media. The main thing here is that with social media, you want to make sure that people are seeing you as the local expert for intimate wellness. So whether you have a laser, like this is actually one of our clients here, they're rather than pulling the stock photo off of the marketing portal, they just take a picture with them and their device. They posted this. You can see in the comments, a gal here is saying, very interested, because they're like scrolling through their news feed and they're like, what is my doctor doing there? What is my doctor standing next to? And boom, you're opening up that conversation. So a couple of pieces of things that you can implement tomorrow. If you've got an intimate wellness device, or maybe you offer CO2 Lift V already in your office, make sure you have a picture of you with the equipment or you with the treatment. Put that on social media, on both Facebook and Instagram. Definitely record some videos, quick little videos. You can use your iPhone. You can talk about like, what is, what happens when people age. I love the one, like the things you didn't know about menopause. Everybody knows about hot flashes and night sweats, but people don't talk about urinary incontinence and vaginal dryness. So those are a couple quick videos that you guys could do. You can definitely use the content from the marketing portals, use testimonials, and then making sure that you're using social media to invite people to your events and webinars. So we like to plan our social media out for the month. So I would try, if this is something that you're focusing on, dedicate an entire quarter to it and make sure every week you have at least one post on Facebook and Instagram about these treatments. And the more that you can make personal photos and videos, the better your results are going to be. You can go to the next one. There's just a few examples again that I want to show you. And again, these are all clients of ours. So you've got this office. I did a webinar and I did a Q&A with the doctor, live Q&A on Facebook and Instagram. And we just asked questions like, what is stress urinary incontinence? What's urge incontinence? What's this word I've heard of genitourinary syndrome of menopause? Like, what is that? Why does it happen? And it was an awesome Q&A. We've got a tremendous amount of success. This guy's done more. He's got a laser in his office. He's done more laser procedures than anybody in the entire state of Michigan, but he's doing these type of things. The middle one, menopause makeover. This, you could talk about a lot of things, right? You could talk about intimate wellness. You could throw in maybe some aesthetic services that you have. Maybe you've got like some body contouring. Those are really fun things. And then also, again, just a picture of you guys with the treatment. Like this office here is doing a combination of PRP with the CO2 Lift V and talking about maybe how you could combine those treatments. So just a few examples. The other thing is when you are thinking about, okay, how do I get new people on social media? You really want to make sure that you're running ads. Now, when you're running an ad, it needs to be to collect contact information. If you're just boosting a post, it's kind of like standing on your front porch and screaming to your neighbors, hey, everybody, I've got this treatment that I offer now. And you're kind of like just hoping somebody hears and like says, I'm interested. Instead of when you're running an ad on Facebook and Instagram, that's a lead generating ad, you're actually collecting people's name, email, and phone number. So the example on the left is an office that did a webinar. They're marketing the webinar to women over the age of 35 to 40 in a 25-mile radius of their office who are in the top 50% income bracket and who spend money on other things like anti-aging. They go to the spa, they get massages, they travel, they shop at Whole Foods. people that are into like taking care of themselves. So this ad gets showed on social media. And when I click that learn more button, Facebook and Instagram knows my contact information. So they're going to now grab my name, email, and phone number, and you can download that off of Facebook. Now those people are on your email list and you can invite them to your webinar. The middle one, again, picture with the treatment. This office is doing an offer ad. So when they click get offer, it grabs their contact information. And then the third thing that's really great is an ebook. So some kind of freebie that you're giving away on social media. So this particular office is trying to grow their overall menopause business. So they've got an intimate wellness device and they offer bioidentical hormones. So they want menopausal women. So what they're doing is they're giving away a free ebook, PDF download of a menopause women's wellness guide, which we actually provide these for our clients. And when they click download, it's going to email them the book and it's going to give you their contact information. So now you've built a list of women that have these problems that are in your local area that you can reach out to and market to. You can go to the next one. So, and then events. So one of the things that's huge, I mean, right now we've got 58 people live right now on this webinar. So you're going to do the same thing. You need to be doing a webinar or an in-office patient education event every quarter. And you can come up with different themes. You know, you got Mother's Day coming up. We have people over around Valentine's Day. They did one on like how to restore your romance. Doing something like this every quarter, it is the fastest way to make money. And it also positions you as the expert. You have a bring a friend incentive. Like, let's say I'm your ideal patient and I hang out with other women like me. And so you do a bring a friend incentive. Lauren's my good friend. Lauren is also a very high achiever, spends money on these services and has the same problems I do. And now you've doubled your attendance and you've got those like great type of patients, the exact type of people that you want in your office. So I would suggest doing them quarterly. If you do them more than that, you're very ambitious and it can get a little bit stressful. So you want to give yourself enough time to market it, but you want to make sure if you're doing it in the office, have it at your office. Don't have it offsite. It's always better for people to like see the room, see your office space, ask questions, meet the providers versus like having it offsite at like a banquet hall or a restaurant or something like that. Give a quick little PowerPoint. Show and tell is big. It's a lot better than just talking about it. You want to make sure that you're showing maybe some before and after histologic data, clinical studies, things like that. Incentive, I talked about the bring a friend. So you bring a friend, both of you guys get $25 gift certificate to anything at the office, or bring a friend, you both get an extra raffle ticket because we're giving away. I mean, I've seen one office, they had so many people come, they bought a Louis Vuitton bag as a giveaway. They had like hundreds of people there and they gave that away. So you get, an extra raffle ticket because you brought a friend. Another thing that is very powerful at these in-office events is having a testimonial. There is nothing like a woman that can stand up and share her story about, I've been at events before where, the woman is an avid runner and she's gotten older and now she leaks when she runs. And it's just like a thing that she's been passionate about that just kind of is a bummer now. Right. And she shares her story about how, addressing this vaginal atrophy that she has, she's not only addressed the dryness, but she's also improved her bladder symptoms and she can run again. I mean, so that patient almost sells it themselves by just sharing their personal story. And then offering special pricing for people come to the event. And then also you want to offer some kind of financing option because, depending on what treatment that you offer, not everybody can pay out of pocket. So if you do offer those financing options, and there's a few other ideas down here, the mimosas and menopause, Saturday morning, 9 a.m., mimosas and some scones, you guys will kill it. So those are a couple of ideas. You can go to the next one. And then, so here's just a few like examples of flyers. So the mimosas and menopause, we're doing that like crazy right now. Saturday morning, 10 a.m., I've seen people do $50,000 in sales in 2 hours. Beauty and intimacy. So let's say, and I don't know what all the specialties are on here. I'd actually love if you guys want to put in the chat, maybe while I'm going through this, like, what is your specialty? Are you a OBGYN? Are you a medical spa, dermatologist, plastic surgeon? Sometimes the non-core, like the non-women's health offices, struggle a little bit to bring up intimate wellness. So think about how you could pair it with something else. So this middle one here is they're doing an evening of beauty and intimacy. So you're going to have some people that are going to be there because they want to know about, like, how can I look better as I age, right? And they're also then going to learn about intimate wellness. And then on the flip side, you're going to have some people that come for intimate wellness, and you can actually also get them to buy some of maybe your laser treatments for skin rejuvenation. And then how to get your romance back. So this is an office that also coupled with a pelvic floor physical therapist that brought, she invited her patients. So thinking about too, like, are there people that you could do a joint event that would double your audience? So those are just a few ideas. And I saw a bunch of people in the chat. So thanks for letting us know. It looks like we got kind of a difference. We got some GYNs, we got some functional medicine, plastic surgery. Yeah. So definitely, hopefully these are a few good ideas for you guys. Go ahead and go to the next one. And then the other thing that I want to make sure that I don't forget here, and this is like extremely important, especially when it comes to attracting new people. Because I always like to say, like, people are kind of married to their gynecologist. Like, I've gone to the same gynecologist for 20 years. I'm not going to just like see a social media post about CO2 Lift V and like call some other office that I don't even know who they are. Now, if I feel like maybe I watched that doctor's webinar and I'm like, man, this person really seems like they know what they're talking about. I didn't know in my backyard I have an expert in this specific problem. Okay, I got to get a hold of them. So what do? I go to my phone and I type in their name, or I just type in like vaginal rejuvenation near me or OB-GYN near me. And if you are, and hopefully this office is not the call, but if you're this bottom one here, Scottsdale OB-GYN, I mean, I'm probably not calling them, right? Like, when I look at these three options, North Scottsdale Women's Health looks like the go-to. First of all, they show up in the top three. They've got 182 reviews and they've got over 4-star rating. I'd love to see them more about 4.5, but they're doing pretty darn good. It looks like this is the go-to office. And that's the biggest thing. If you're a plastic surgeon, that's the same exact thing. If you're a medical spa, it's the same exact thing. You need to be in the top three. And so what a lot of people don't realize is they're paying an SEO company all this money to optimize their website, and they've done nothing with their Google listing, or they're putting all the reviews on some doctor.com website, realpatientratings.com, that nobody looks at. Google is where the reviews need to be. So another thing that I would definitely say, like, starting tomorrow, if you're not doing this, you need to be asking your patients to leave a Google review. 7 out of 10 people are going to call your office directly from this listing. If you do this on a phone, there'll actually be like a little phone icon on there too. You can call the office right from the listing. You don't even have to go to their website. So it's really that like social proof that you're the top doc in your area. And the beauty of this whole thing, the cost for you to optimize your Google business is zero. It's free. It's just that people don't know it. And the SEO companies don't tell you that because they want you to pay them all this money to do the SEO, when this is really probably one of the biggest components of SEO. All right, you can go to the next one. And then just real quick on how, like, okay, I understand, but I don't really know what to do next. So just a couple of quick tips. First of all, you need to claim all your listings on Google. So all you're going to do is go to Google yourself, see what listings come up, and then you want to make sure that you've claimed them. There's usually a little icon on the bottom. They'll say claim this listing, and it'll walk you through, like, you have to send a code, and then all of a sudden you get in the listing, and now you get to see the back end of your listing like this. So you want to make sure that you have your category correct. So what I'll see sometimes is, let's just say one of the folks on the call here is a plastic surgeon, but your category on Google is just doctor. you're competing against every doctor of every medical specialty in your entire area. You need to be listed as plastic surgery clinic, plastic surgeon, cosmetic surgeon. Like there's multiple categories that you want to put on there. If you're a gynecologist, you want gynecologist, obstetrician gynecologist, women's health clinic, pregnancy care center. And then maybe even like maybe you do a little functional medicine, you could put alternative medicine provider. So you want to make sure you have the right categories. Under services, okay, you want to click this and you want to add your services. So you'll see this doctor does O-shot. They offer abnormal vaginal bleeding treatments. They have Thermiva. They do Bio-T hormone pellets, and they've got the CO2 lift vape. So if you want people to find you, like you want to have those things on your Google listing. And so this again is more going to be that like external marketing, people finding you, and you can do this for free. You can go to the next one. And then lastly, again, all marketing isn't digital. There's still some old school strategies that really, really work. And so you want to make sure that you are tapping into your patient referrals. The cost of a patient to refer somebody to you is nothing. Doesn't cost you anything. Maybe offer an incentive for patients that get the treatment done. If they tell a friend, they get a discount on their touch-up treatment, or they get maybe a free extra booster treatment. Or you could give them $50 towards maybe a hydrofacial or something else that you offer. You can cross promote. And then other medical professionals. So you want to think about, a lot of women are getting their pap smears done at their family doctor. They're not even going to a gynecologist. So what family practice doctors have nurse practitioners or PAs doing these things that need to know that you offer a solution to this. So a referral letter. The nurse navigators at the hospital are great people to connect with. Those folks are doing monthly breast cancer survivor support group meetings. You could be a guest speaker at those meetings, talk about how this is a great option for breast cancer survivors. And then we talked about like the pelvic floor physical therapist, couples counselor. So think about those other medical professionals that may be able to refer to you, and then maybe you back to them. So you always want to create that win-win cross referral. All right. You can go to the next one. All right. So we're going to kind of go back and I want to just touch base real quick too on, and they're not paying me to say this, and I know I'm going to say this, but I really think this is an awesome option for offices that already have an energy-based device. I think it's great for people that are doing PRP, and then also people that just want to get in, because I'll tell you what, it's just like Botox right now, women are getting Botox and women are asking about these type of treatments. You want to make sure you have something in your toolbox that you can offer people. And so this is, I was really excited to be invited today because I think it's a really great product. So I'll let Lauren tell you a little bit more about it.
Well, thank you, Lori. And we're excited to have you here too. So thank you so much. I know there was a couple of questions, so we're going to have a Q&A section after, but the presentation will be available and we'll actually send the deck out as well. So yeah, so we'll get to all the other Q&As in a little bit, but just so that everybody is familiar, I think a lot of people had said that they already were either familiar with CO2 Lipi or they had heard about it. But CO2 Lipi, it is a carboxy gel. So carboxy therapy has been done for years and years, but historically always done through injections of CO2 into the skin. So the skin responds, the body responds by rushing oxygen to that area. So it oxygenates the tissue, rushing that oxygen-rich blood to the tissue. So Lana actually created the version of carboxy therapy gel for the vagina, for vaginal rejuvenation. So we've done tons of studies on it, seen really great results, published data on it to help with different symptoms of GSM, the genitourinary symptoms of menopause, dryness, burning, itching, helping with painful sex, loss of sensitivity, a lot of really great options out there. But this is something that you can actually do in the comfort of your own home, or in combination with any devices or treatments that you might be offering in your practice. So it is pain-free, it's hormone-free. They can be doing it at home or in the office. We do have a lot of practitioners that are doing it actually for the patients in the office. And all it takes is just mixing the 2 packets together. You draw the gel up into the applicator stick that comes with the treatment, and then you're actually inserting it into the vagina. Anything that's left over, you can actually apply that to the exterior, to the vulva area. So you're getting both vulva rejuvenation as well as vaginal rejuvenation. So really, who is it for? It's for everybody, right? So it's for women that are interested in self-care or general intimate health. It's really great for new mothers post-birth, or, you know, whether it's C-section or vaginal birth. Really, it can be helpful for both, just helping to restore the muscles down there. And it also can be done while breastfeeding as well, because it is natural. It's just carbon dioxide. So your new mothers, your menopausal women, women who have had chemotherapy. We have a breast cancer physician with breast cancer in California, who, you know, this was one of the only things that she could do. She was using both the carboxy for the face, she was using it on her hair, and she was using it on her vagina. She was even using the gel on top of her port wounds. So really, there's not a lot of options for those patients out there. So this is something that can be an option for them. So women with a history of breast cancer, those that are on prescription medication, so anyone that's having hormonal fluctuations, and then just helping with the general appearance. We have some really great before and after photos that came from our clinical studies, so happy to share those with you as well. And then finally, women with lichen sclerosis or PCOS. So again, not a ton of options out there for LS. Usually it's a corticosteroid, but this is something that's natural that can help relieve the burning, the itching, and help regenerate and rejuvenate the vagina. And we've seen a lot of patients have seen great success with doing this series of treatments with their lichen sclerosis. So that's just a little bit of a background as to what CO2 Lift V is. And just wanted to let you guys all know that we are now offering a ton of support for our practices, because we know, as we saw, that there are a multitude of specialties out there, and not everyone offers a device yet. They might just be getting started. This is a really great point of entry for getting into the vaginal rejuvenation restoration market, for helping your patients to at least offer something that they can get started on their journey. So we have a new practice portal that we are launching. So we'll send this out with the follow-up with the recording and with the deck. So that's where we have that staff training, the video with Dr. Bogard. We have different photos. We have all of our digital assets as well that we use on social media. So we'll have a whole library of those photos. As Lori said, I personally believe as well, it is always great and best to have a more personalized photo when it comes to social media. I know she's talked before about, you know, having the little sign like "I love CO2 Lift V." We actually have a few little signs that we're going to have available in our marketing kits as well. So we'll do all the legwork for you on that. But to have that personalized photo is great. But then just, you know, as you're posting, you want a few like more professional images. We have those stock photos for you to use and adapt and adopt and create for your own posts. So that's our media kit. I know someone had asked about intake forms in the chat box. So we do, as Lori had mentioned, we do have an intake form example that will be available on there that you can download and, you know, adapt to your own practice. Take a look at it, see if you want to make any changes. It's an editable document. The other thing that I like to use is the FSFI. It's the Female Sexual Function Index. I think that's just a really great base for people to use as they're starting on these treatments. Have them fill out the questionnaire so you have some base data, a base point data point that you can use to then have them take after their treatments, and have them retake the questionnaire to see what their improvement is. So, you know, before and after photos are, I mean, I think it is good for people to take before and after photos to track their to track their progress. But I think also having something a little bit more quantitative is a good idea to have as well. And then of course we have our consent forms too that you can use and adopt. So that is available on our portal. And then just some fun in-office collateral. So we're working on, again, giving you guys everything that you need to really start the conversation, to show that this is something that you are now offering. We have great brochures, we have signs and posters. With the signs and the posters, we have a little QR code that as the patient is sitting in the waiting room or in your reception area, they can actually scan that QR code and it will take them to our patient education page. So on our patient education page, we have a lot of just frequently asked questions. We have video testimonials. So just hearing from different voices, different people. And then the other thing too, is that you can adopt that sign, or you can adapt that sign and put a QR code directly to your website. Once you start building up the content on your website, that you could actually create a custom page on there with your patient testimonials, or a video of your staff sexual health advisor talking about their own personal experience or the physician's experience. So different ways to kind of make it adaptable and adoptable. One that's kind of more of a base, but then you can always elevate it and take it to the next level and create a custom page as well. So these are things that are available right now. So those are going to be all available in our portal and ready to go. So with that, I personally put this quote in there because I know Lana is a big, huge Tony Robbins fan, but knowledge isn't power, it's potential power. Execution trumps knowledge any day of the week. So it really is putting together that plan and working on the execution, which is really going to lead to your success. So I know, Lori, you had a question that you wanted to ask everybody.
Well, first of all, I thought the content was great. We packed a lot in a really short period of time. And I do see there's a couple questions here, which the one is an excellent question. So make sure we answer that. But no, hopefully you guys can just think of like one or two things today that you could start tomorrow, right? Is it the intake form? Is it taking a picture of you with your CO2 Lift V kits? Or with your device that you have at the office, your energy device? Is it, hey, you know what? I love the idea of an event. I'm going to start planning that. Or I'm going to do I think I've always wanted to do a webinar. I'm going to do it, right? So I think those are the biggest things, is to just make sure that you take a couple of things and actually execute them. And I know Lana and Lauren would probably love it, tag them in the post, right? Like you're going to take that personal picture, tag their company. You're going to get more eyes on your stuff. So just to tell you guys a little bit about our team. So we specialize in women's health marketing. I know there's a couple of folks on there that I recognize your names. So good to see you guys. But that's all we do. So we work with OB-GYNs, urogyns, functional medicine, and aesthetic doctors, and we implement an entire blueprint for you. So we do the Facebook and Instagram. We run the ads for you. We have a maintenance treatment reminder system. We do the email marketing, the newsletters. We do an event or a webinar every single quarter. We do the whole thing for you. And we do all the Google My Business stuff and get you reviews. So a lot of you guys may already have somebody in your office that's doing this. So that's amazing and great. But for those of you that don't, we'd love to, talk to you a little bit more about maybe some tips. And we can do that on a strategy call. So if it is something you guys are interested in, we'll actually make sure that we have the link also sent out in the replay, but you can just go to the Medical Marketing Whiz website and you'll see right at the top where you can schedule that call, and you'll meet with either myself or Katie on Zoom, and we'll spend a good hour with you. So we can talk about some specifics of your office.
That was just great.
And
I really appreciate Lauren, you did an excellent job. I really, this was such great information. I really hope that you guys, are going to take some of that and put it into practice or start executing that tomorrow. Before we finish, let's just address some of the questions. One of these, I think this is going to go directly to you, Lori. Facebook would not let me run ads on vaginal rejuvenation as they said it was an adult service. Do you know any workaround for this?
yes, and that is a very common problem. So don't feel bad. You haven't done anything wrong. The problem is that Facebook and Instagram have, if you say the word vagina, now you can say it in a post, but you cannot run it as an ad. You cannot say sex. You cannot say the word you. Like, do you have this? You cannot say that. So the way around it is you want to think about, like I gave an example of like a menopause event, right? So you offer hormones and you offer vaginal rejuvenation. You're going to market a menopause makeover, or you're going to market, let's say you're a plastic surgeon. I would do a webinar on non-surgical mommy makeover. And this is a piece of it. So the beauty of it is once you get them to opt into your webinar, you can say whatever you want on the webinar. You can say vagina, you can say sex, you can say whatever you want. Facebook isn't going to know that. So you just want to pick a topic that's going to speak to your niche. But it can't be about vaginal rejuvenation. And I'll tell you, like, just doing vaginal rejuvenation posts, you're not going to get patients from that anyway. You're going to get patients from somebody like just today. Think about, like, you've never met me before. A lot of you guys never met me. You kind of feel like you know me a little bit now, right? Like maybe a little more. Same exact thing here. Like a patient that doesn't know who you are at all is going to hear you speak about menopause and vaginal dryness and all of those things. And hey, guess what? There's solutions now for women. It used to only be for men, and we're the expert, and we're excited because we're leading the way in women's health in our area, and we're offering this. So that's the best way to do it, is make it more about like menopause, mommy makeover, that type of thing, and then get them to watch a webinar or come to an event.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, Lori. We have another question. It says, I'm a solo practitioner and I don't want to invest in any major equipment. What type of investment do I need to get started with the CO2 Lipi? Lauren, you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I think that's the beauty of this product, is that it works great in combination, but really it can be a really great entry into vaginal restoration. So it is, we don't even have a minimum order quantity. So you really could just start with some, having 1 or 2 boxes on hand in your inventory, get those marketing materials in place, put into place a lot of those different concepts and ideas and tips that Lori had talked about, and just start putting those feelers out there. I think another really important thing to do is make sure that you have a way to track your leads. So track those patients that are interested, that have shown interest, or that have started talking about it, having those conversations. Most EMR systems, practice management systems, have a way of tagging patients to different services. So, because that can then lead to other services. Maybe you want to invest in a device later on down the line. So it's a really great, again, entry point to just get started. But I think even just putting those feelers out, like our case study, the dermatologist in New Jersey, she just started putting some brochures out in her weight room, and right there started the conversation to lead her to now bringing in that additional revenue to her already booming practice.
Yeah. So
I love it. We got some comments in here. People are excited. They got some ideas. So
Right.
Kristen's going to post a personal photo. So she's going to tag you guys.
I love it.
Awesome.
That is great.
Awesome.
Thanks, Kristen.
Thank you, Lauren, for that. So it's not a big investment to get started, and the return on investment is immediate. So
Yeah.
just as Lauren said, that dermatologist, she started with 5 boxes, and now look at what she's bringing into her practice. I have another question here. I guess, Laura, you can answer this one. It says, we ask patients for reviews, but they don't leave them. Any advice for getting more reviews?
So it's all a math game. So with Google, unfortunately, they don't allow anonymous reviews, and you have to have a Gmail email to leave a Google review. So Facebook recommendations are also indexed by Google. So that's a good second option. So a couple things you can do. You can make little cards that have a QR code on them that go to your Google listing. So that Google listing, I showed you guys the back end of the Google listing. You can also get your review QR code from that same area, put it on a card, and just ask people to leave a review. Put something at your checkout area, again, with the QR code. How do they leave a review? And what you can do is somebody's checking out for a treatment. They've got to swipe the credit card anyway, right? And the girl at the desk, so she goes, hey, Lauren, how was your day-to-day with Dr. Taguchi? And she's like, oh my gosh, it's always amazing seeing him. He's such a great doctor. And you're like, you know what? While I'm swiping your copay here, or I'm paying for whatever you came in for, we're really working on improving our Google page. Would you scan this QR code real quick on your phone and leave us a review? So that's like a super easy way to do it using email marketing. So like with our clients, we send out an email blast every week to every person that came into the office, and we ask them, how was your visit? If they rate you good, it'll ask them to leave a review. But if they, for whatever reason, like, they didn't pay their bill, or the wait time was too long, and they give you a bad review or bad rating, it won't ask them to leave a review. It'll just say like, wow, we're sorry we missed the mark. Like, let us know what happened. And then they can complain. And the office manager can get the email that says, hey, Lori wasn't happy about her wait time. It's never going to ask me to leave a review. So it really, you might have to ask 100 people to get 10 to do a review. So don't feel discouraged if you feel like you're asking and people aren't doing it. You just need to make it easier for them. So like those QR codes, since COVID, everybody knows how to use a QR code now. Every menu is a QR code. So it's an easy thing for you to do. And then I think just ask the happy people to leave your review. It's most of the time, it's just a numbers game. So.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you. I'm seeing some of the comments. Your sister, yes, any kind of professional skincare can carry the CO2 lift fee. So you would just email support,
Yep.
and they can help you to get started on that. I see another comment in the chat that's very similar to a question. Sorry.
Yeah, the texting. Somebody said the texting for leaving a review. That's also another great way to do it. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Someone was saying that what's the best way to market the CO2 Lift V without taking away from the results of the vaginal laser device? It was similar to another question that said, I already have a laser device that I'm having difficulty selling treatments. Why would I get the CO2 Lift V? Well, certainly as you've heard some great tips here in terms of how to start selling more of the laser or the whatever equipment that you have. But the benefits of CO2 Lipi complement. I think, Lauren, you want to answer that question real quick?
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of goes down to that old adage. It's you have your in-office procedures, but then you have your take-home. It's the same thing with going to the dentist. You're not going to go to the dentist and not brush your teeth when you're at home. So having that at-home regimen to help maintain and maximize results, I think that's a huge benefit to the CO2 Lipi. It helps to extend results, maximize results. And so I think it can be a perfect complement to anything. There's going to be situations and different cases where patients are not going to be candidates for devices. So I was just talking to a practice in South Carolina, and they said, patients with pacemakers, they're not even going to think about putting them through a laser or energy-based device treatment. So they're perfect candidates for the CO2 Lift V. And they've actually had quite a few patients in that scenario and gave them the CO2 Lift V, and they were able to get results. So, patients on chemotherapy. So there's always going to be those candidates, or even patients that might not be ready to invest in a laser treatment, or there might be some fear or some hesitation, or they're just not yet ready. I think that's, again, the beauty of the CO2 Lipi is really for any age and every age. So it's good preventative. I think even just our neuromodulators or neurotoxins are now being more marketed as preventative. I think this is a really great opportunity to start just focusing on intimate wellness as, the care down there. It doesn't have to be, a high ticketed procedure or a treatment. Is something that they can just be doing to maintain their wellness at home.
Yeah.
And not everybody, I mean, not everybody is going to be ready for an energy-based device too. And so it's kind of like, I think some people were afraid to get body contouring because they thought it was going to take away from their liposuction. And what they found out is there's a lot of people that don't want surgery and would rather do an in-office treatment. This is kind of the same, there are a lot of people, you're leaving a lot on the table, only having just that one option. So I think it's good, especially as this just becomes more and more mainstream. The more offerings and options you have for people, the better.
I agree.
I think that's, yes, great comments.
And and with that too, there's not always going to be one trick. Like there's not a one trick pony out there. Like I came from the hair world prior to teaming up with Lana with a hair growth supplement. It's like, it works in combination therapy because, sometimes you need to do everything in order to see results. Some people are so atrophied that, just one device treatment or, multiple device treatments, they're going to need kind of the whole gambit of services. So combo therapy is the future. That's what the majority of our providers are doing right now. So again, not just having that one trick or that one treatment, having multiple options for a combination therapy approach is really essential as well.
Yes, I agree. Having more tools in your bag, different options for different patients.
Yeah.
I think we're at that time that we're going to be closing off, but I want to say again, thank you all for coming. Again, you'll be sent this presentation. You're going to be sent the portal to what Lauren was talking about. You have access to Lori. Please to call us if you have any questions. You have your sales reps for those of you who are using the CO2 Lift Pro and are thinking of the CO2 Lift V. You have your sales reps that are a resource that will help you to get and implement these things that both Lauren and Lori talked so well and explained so well on how to do that.
And we got Lana, Lori, and Lauren.
I know, 3 hours. 3 hours. So, oh my goodness. But again, thank you guys. It was a wonderful time. I had a great time tonight and just a great set of speakers. Thank you all for showing up. Again, Lori, Lauren, thank you again. And we will see you on the next one.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Have a great one, guys. Happy Mother's Day, early Mother's Day.
Thank you. All right, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.